Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Another drop of news tonight, and we thought this might happen. I was waiting to see if something else would come, but it has come at this point. It is new Ancient Fairy Dragon support here. Looks like a new revamp to kind of make it a full-on archetype, but we'll have to see exactly what's coming here. It looks like 5 new cards, I think, so hopefully these are good. I thought these could have almost applied to like being a core set like cover support. Looks like Konami didn't want to put a new Ancient Fairy Dragon on a cover, but we'll see what these cards, these cards do. Hopefully they're good. So this is exactly what I talked about before, a couple months ago even, I think multiple times, that they should take some of Luna's old cards that she used in the anime and revamp them with new versions to make them all work together, and that's exactly what they've done. So starting off here, we have Regulus, the Fairy Beast. This is the new lion card that they had. That she used. This is a level 4 light beast, 1700 attack, 0 defense, or 1000 defense. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a spell or trap that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon from your deck to your hand. That's already pretty solid. That is a Stratos basically for the deck. Love that. During your main phase, you can special summon one level 4 or lower light beast, plant, or fairy monster from your hand in defense position. That's crazy. So this card is not only like a Stratos on summon, but it's also just pulling any level 4 lower light beast, plant, or fairy from your hand. I'm assuming that's mostly going to apply to like cards for this archetype, but maybe there is something spicy in the beast, plant, or fairy light realm that could apply there. That's cool. And then lastly, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a field spell in your grave, place it on the bottom of the deck, then draw one card. Dang, this card's nasty. This card's actually nasty. So, like, assuming it's a starter at this point, we haven't read the rest of the cards, but assuming that this effect makes this a starter, it also pulls a monster out of the hand, so it's sort of an extender, and it also just draws you a card if you do what your deck wants to do, which is play a field spell, destroy that field spell with Ancient Fairy Dragon to get another field spell, and then this card in grave is just getting you an additional draw for absolutely free. That's a really good card. Cool stuff. Alright, next up we have Spore, the Fairy Cell. This is a new version of Spore. Love that. It's a level 1 light plant tuner, of course. 400 attack, 800 defense. You can only use a second effect once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can increase its level up to the number of... increase its level by up to the number of monsters you control. That's such a weird effect, I feel like. So, like, okay. Interesting, but it doesn't summon itself. Okay, if this card is in the graveyard and you control an Ancient Fairy Dragon or a light beast, plant, or fairy, you can special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Synchros. So it does lock you to Synchros, which is interesting, and it only extends from grave. So it is a bad card to draw in hand. But if you can get this in grave, it can extend pretty easily, and on summon it adjusts its level. But if it's not getting you to a 7, it's like, what are we doing here? So very interesting there. This is a weird one. It seemed, this card reads to me like a combo piece. Like, I'm assuming there's going to be a combo down the line here where it's like very clear that you need to play one of this card to kind of like do combos with it. But outside of that, it's not like a card you want to see too often. Anyway, we do have Kuribon, the Fairy Spirit. That's his Luna's version of Kuribon that she utilizes, I believe, is Kuribon. So, new version of that. Love it. Level 1 Light Fairy, of course. 300 attack, 200 defense. You can only use both of its first effects once per turn. If you control Ancient Fairy Dragon or Light Beast, Beast, Plant, or Fairy, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it's treated as a tuner. Okay, that almost has some generic application, too. If another monster you control that is Ancient Fairy Dragon or mentions it would be destroyed by a card effect, you can return this card to the hand. Wow, returns to the hand instead, which is crazy. Almost every iteration of an effect like this, protection effect, is like you can send this card to the graveyard instead. But this card just bounces itself, so you still keep that value of being able to summon it next turn. Again, it's not a crazy card, but it is just a decent extender. What's kind of annoying to me is that these are not making level 7s. I want these to make level 7s. That's like the most important part of this deck, but it's not making 7s yet. So it'd be one thing if it was like this was a level 3 extender, and it was like, okay, if I drew that plus your Regulus, and you normal summon Regulus, he gets hand trapped or whatever, I could still summon Kuribon and do some Ancient Fairy Dragon shenanigans if I had a field spell, but like, I'm still just like, how am I getting the Ancient Fairy Dragon? I'm struggling right now, but okay, weird stuff. Alright, into the extra deck. We do have a new version of Ancient Fairy Dragon. It's actually called Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. This is new Synchro 8, 2500 attack, 3300 defense Synchro monster. This is it is completely generic, which is kind of surprising. Any tuner plus any non-tuner. You can only use the first effect once per turn. If this card is Synchro Summoned, you can draw one card, or if the World of Spirits, which is below, it's directly below, is on the field, you can add a light beast, plant, or fairy monster, or one Eternal Sunshine from your deck to your hand. Instead, looks like Eternal Sunshine is the trap card down below. Interesting. Okay. Very cool. So it's either just a draw, so it's still fine to make on its own, even generically. Even as a generic piece, like just making this Synchro as like a stepping stool to just draw a card is actually pretty decent. But if you do have World of Spirits on field already, you do just get to add basically anything in the deck is what I'm kind of getting here, which is pretty good. Second effect, your Ancient Fairy Dragon, and all monsters that mention it can attack while in face-up defense position if they do apply their defense for damage calculation. That's cool. That means you can basically just summon this card in defense position and attack with 3300 with it while staying in defense. That's cool. Alright, spell card. This is World of the Spirits. This is a very important spell card. If this card is banging, it's awesome. If it's not banging, it could be rough. But, ooh, also some other low-key things. Spore, which I believe this is Spore. Is this not Spore? That actually might... Is that Watapon? I can't tell if this is Spore or Watapon. Where's Spore at, actually? Hold on. Let's figure this out together. Oh, no, that's not Spore, man. That's not Spore. Right? Oh, maybe it is Spore. It's hard. Dude, I can't tell. If that's Spore, then cool. If not, I do still think that this fairy and this guy, I think these cards have specific names, but this is like some kind of fairy. This guy has mage in his name. I can't remember his actual name. Them being in the artwork does kind of at least give me some excitement that, like, maybe in the next set too, we should get, you know, like those cards as extra support cards down the line. So I do have faith this archetype will get more support down the line. But anyway, as far as the card actually does, it's a field spell. You can only activate one card with this name once per turn. You can only use the activate the second and third effects of this card while you control. Whoa. You can only activate the second and third effect of this card's name while you control level 7 or higher Light Dragon Synchro. Whoa. So basically just Ancient Fairy Dragons. When this card resolves, you can add one monster that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon from your deck to hand. That's awesome. That's the biggest thing. That's awesome. And that's not one of the effects that requires you to have the level 7 or higher. So the first effect is just still good, even if you don't have those, but the first effect is the most important one. So love that. Second effect, each time a monster is special summoned in attack position, change it to defense position. Whoa, that's not even once per turn, but you do still have to get the Ancient Fairy Dragon, but that includes your monster too. Luckily, you do still have the new Ancient Fairy Dragon Synchro, which says your guys can attack while in defense position. And third effect, once per turn during the end phase, destroy all the turn player's attack position monsters. Whoa, that's such a crazy punish. I can't imagine that's actually like that good, but like theoretically, you could punish your opponent. Or if your opponent doesn't like out a card like this, and on their turn they try to play, and then on their like at some point maybe their main phase 2 or their end phase, you're able to like quick sync into like a level 7 or higher Light Dragon Synchro, and then just force them to like wipe their own board. But I can't imagine that's coming up all too often. But it is still interesting. That's fun. But the main effect is obviously just it's a searching field spell. It's good, so no complaints. And lastly, you have Eternal Sunshine. This is a new continuous trap. Love continuous traps. You can only use the second effect once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name a number of times per turn, up to the number of cards you control that have Ancient Fairy Dragon or mentions it in its name. Okay. First effect, monster you control gain 500 defense for each Ancient Fairy Dragon, and each monster that mentions it you control, that can actually stockpile pretty hard, so that's actually pretty good. And then once per chain, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Its current attack and defense becomes halved. Also, its effects are negated. Once per chain! Dang! Okay, so like it reads kind of like a slightly better imperm, right? Like you can target a monster, negate it, and cut its attack and defense in half, but this is just up to the number of times, up to the number of times equal to the number of like ancient fairy dragons or monsters that mention it you control. So that could be 2 to 3 separate imperms. That's actually pretty decent. Okay, that's cool. Konami's whole vibe right now is like traps are obviously not good enough. Konami knows that, but they're trying to make traps that are good enough that you still at least want to play one copy of like an in-archetype trap that's searchable to make it work. And I think this one's probably good enough to do it. If it's 2 to 3 separate imperms on a turn, that's really strong. So I actually think that could be good enough. All in all, though, cool stuff, right? You get a rotating field spell. You get a Stratos monster. You get different extenders that I'm not sure put it all together yet. And you get a cool new synchro that actually helps, and a trap that is a part of your end board potentially. I think this is a good start, but it almost feels like this is like half of the support that should have come as like a cover support. Now that being said, I think this entirely sets up for us to get multiple support cards in the next core set or even the one after that. I mean, even just look at the new Metal Morph archetype, right? That is basically an anime related archetype, and they've gotten support, like, you know what I mean? They've gotten already another wave of support, and they might get more in this set as well. So, you know, it's not unrealistic to expect anime or any anime support, even aside from the core cover archetype. So that's really cool. Let me know your thoughts down below on this. This is cool, especially combined with the other random cards we got in premium pack. Like those could actually have like a, you know, something to say about this. That's like a cool little addition. I'm curious what you guys think about that, and what plays this deck might have access to. What are the best like field spell engines? Because I think we're gonna need other field spell engines. I'm really happy the deck finally has a field spell that like actually gets their own plays started. But I do still think with Ancient Fairy Dragon being what Ancient Fairy Dragon is, we're going to want to get a different field spell. So what is the other field spells you're going to consider playing here? I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. But I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching as always. Subscribe to the channel for more things from me down the line. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.